Hey guys, what's up? Neil Miss here, and today we are talking about, what is it, Theo? Dog's walking around. You're gonna hear him. 5 mistakes I have made on my journey of becoming a music producer. Some of these things I made a long time ago. Some of these mistakes I'm just recently learning about. There's only 5 of them, and there's a lot more mistakes that I've made that I think everyone needs to know. But these are like the main ones that will change how you produce music, or at least they made huge impacts on me. Say hi, Theo. Hey guys, we're gonna learn about music production. Okay, so the 5 things. Thanks, Theo. The number one thing, I think this I don't know. These aren't really in a whole bunch of orders, but a big one for me, and this was just recent, was EQing. So I took the importance. EQ is important, but I took the importance of EQing to like the extreme. Like I thought EQing would make or break a song. So what I was doing, I'm gonna give an example of what I was doing to a sound right here. I was doing this. So I was essentially taking away, I'd be like, okay, the main frequency of this sound is 1600 hertz to 1800 hertz. I'm going to take everything else out. And what it did was it started to make, and then I'd have like 3 cents, right? And I would just, the song would sound weak because there wasn't, sounds weren't overlaying and they weren't dancing with each other. They're like, it's like whenever you go to a party and there's like a group of, there's one person dancing here, one person dancing here, person here, and a person way up here. And instead, like a good party, everybody's like, woo, 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 right? So I was EQing too heavy, so my song sounded weak as fuck. Like weak. Like I was just listening to them, I was like, why is the song not there? And that's fucking why. So I stopped making EQ as important. I also stopped using visual EQs because it made me to stop focusing on exactly where the sound is. And instead I'm using EQ not to boost the sound that's already there, but to take away sounds and take away sounds that sound gross in the mix and make the mix sound muddy, and to boost sounds that need to be boosted. So I'm not visually looking at my EQs anymore. Instead, I'm using my ears, because people don't watch music, they listen to it. The number two on the list, doesn't mean these are more important or less important. Number 2 thing is less is more. Not more is more. So I would try my hardest. I'd be like, oh, these songs, they need to be crazy. I need a crazy song. I need all these crazy melodies and all this going on, and I need to have all these like automations, and I need to be putting as many effects on it as possible. But the problem is you don't gotta be crazy to make something sound good. Sometimes less is more, and that's the case in most music, most modern music especially. So now what I do, I would try to make one instrument do everything. But instead, so one instrument would be like, boo doo boo 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 boo. Instead, I'd have one instrument go boo doo boo, and then have something else go boo 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 boo. Whatever. So you have 2 instruments, so they're dancing with each other instead of one instrument just like pushing. Instead, have a bunch of instruments, and each one of them is doing a little bit of things, and it'll make your song sound so much more interesting. At least it does for mine. So I mean, hopefully it helps you out too. I don't know why it wouldn't, because it has helped me a lot. Now, another thing that I made a mistake of, and I made this a long time ago, but I've really learned, you don't need a bunch of plugins. In fact, so I use FL Studio right here. So all I do like as far as effects, all I use is all the stock FL Studio plugins, with some exceptions. I use Auto-Tune, I use Native Instruments Guitar Rig, and I have a saturation plugin, and there's just a few others. But I used to try to get, you know, like aftermarket EQs and delays and all these things where FL Studio has fine stock plugins, effects plugins, and instrument plugins. Theo, will you freaking stop? The only instrument plugins that I really use is FL Keys, because I love keyboard and it's just about damn perfect, and I use Serum. So those are really my only two instruments. I'm sorry, he keeps squeaking. What? Like, oh, come on, quick. At least he's not knocking over the camera, taking it. So I have really narrowed my plugins down to where I'm just using essentially stock plugins with a couple of exceptions, and they work fine. The plugins will not make you better. It's how you use the plugins, and honestly, it's just a lot easier. You don't need all these freaking choices, and you shouldn't just be downloading all this shit onto your computer. Just about every DAW has great stock plugins, so that was a big mess up I was making. Now another mess up is mastering. I used to think mastering would make my songs golden. So what was I doing? I was just doing mix downs myself and then trying to have other people master it. But then what I found, it's like, dude, my song sounds the same. It's just louder. and it's because it's mastering. The outcome of your song really comes down to the production and the mix down. And though mastering will play a very important role, with some, Theo, don't knock the camera over, with some like EQing adjustments of the whole song overall, and compressing the entire song and raising those levels, they all play a part: production, mixing, and mastering. But I used to think there was some brilliant thing that came with mastering that would just make the song sound invincible and sound freaking awesome, and that's just not the case. In fact, a great mix is much more important than getting a song mastered. So the next thing is a project template. And what I mean by this is inside FL Studio, every time I open it up, it looks like this. And this is a template that I have created based on instruments that I always typically load up. I typically always have 3 instruments. I always have a sub bass. I always have a kick, at least 2 snares, or a snare, a clap, a snare, a snap, a snap, a clap, some variable of that, and then like 3 hi-hats. So I made it. Hey Theo, will you stop dancing in my chords? Come on, boy, let's go. No, stop dancing in the chords. I said, damn it. Fuck, he's gonna fuck this shit up. Come here, just get your ass up here. We're learning about music. So I made a template where all this stuff is, I have those instruments already loaded up. Every time I load up FL Studio, I have, so I have links going to bus channels, and then I have links going to side chains, and I have EQs on things that I EQ a lot. I have limiters on things that need to be limited or compressed. So this way, every time I open up a project, I don't have to be going through and doing this, opening these plugins again and again, and linking things and so forth again and again. And it speeds up my creative process. I don't have to color coordinate things. It's just all organized, and it's all pretty, and I don't have to do any of that extra work. all I have to do is jam out, which is really what I love to do. And the faster I can jam out, get that song done, and then go drive around town and listen to it in my car, that's what makes me happy, is listening to what I just made. It's not going through and naming the freaking channels and linking it to side chains. So, boom, there you have it. Those are my 5 mistakes I've been making. Comment below, list yours, and ask me if you're having any of these problems, which you might be, or I'm just stupid. I can help out. So just ask me what you could do differently, or whatever. I hope I explained it good. Peace, guys.